All right, we have two more, then we get to go to the boat. So, super excited to speak with you today. At Populous, if some of you may know, we design stadium and arena venues all around the world, from Wembley Stadium, O2, the new Tottenham Stadium that just opened, the Olympic London main stadium. And we've been very keenly focused on what the future of digital entertainment means for the live venue experience for esports, how we can bring people together for these amazing moments, what the social impact is going to be, and ultimately what the landscape is going to look like 10 and 20 years from now. So today, I'm going to focus on a few things. One, kind of a day one prototype, a project that opened last fall in Arlington, Texas, which is a suburb of Dallas. And a new project for us that's opening in Philadelphia, a $50 million project that we're doing for Comcast and the Philadelphia Fusion, which in many ways is going to be a prototype for the future of these types of ground-up, purpose-built venues. And then I'm going to give a little bit of a glimpse into where we see the future headed and the way in which we really see the physical and the virtual environments blending. We've talked a bit today about augmented reality and the way in which the live experience is going to, in many ways, be an important part in propelling the future of esports and competitive gaming. So, as I mentioned, Populous, we've done many projects around the globe. But ultimately, what's really exciting is that every sport fundamentally has a cathedral. Whether it's soccer, tennis, every sport has a cathedral. And we certainly see that esports will have a cathedral as well. Yankee Stadium, as I mentioned, Center Court in Wimbledon, the new Tottenham ground. This is a new project that we're doing in London called The Sphere, which is going to be a really amazing project built around digital entertainment. But it really goes back 2,000 years to the Roman Colosseum. And the reality is that these places for entertainment fundamentally are exactly the same, whether it's today or 2,000 years ago, because what people want is to come together for a shared experience. It's in our DNA. And that Roman Colosseum, the same principles that make that building what it is the same way that we're thinking about what the future venue is going to look like for digital entertainment and esports. Okay, so today, we've talked about this ad nauseum today in terms of all the critical forces related to the growth of esports. There are more people watching Twitch cumulatively daily than traditional broadcast, on whether it's CNN, ESPN. The global revenue is going to be $1.5 billion. It's a next-gen consumer that's fundamentally shaping the experience economy. And so what that means is that there's now a dedicated need for this built infrastructure and for these types of venues. So as I mentioned, kind of the first generation prototype that we developed last year is based in Arlington. We worked with the Texas Rangers ownership group. One of the owners' name is Neil Liebman. He bought into Infinite Esports. He has a team that competes actually in the Overwatch League in Houston. But he wanted to plant a flag in the center of North America and really create an epicenter for building culture around esports and a place where people could come together and not only experience it on a day-to-day basis, but then also have the live events. So I'm going to show kind of a quick video here, but a couple things that make it unique. And this is one thing that I would say is really critical to these sorts of venues for success, is that they, one, need to be really flexible, really adaptable, and they need to have a wide cross-section of capabilities. And so what we did here was we designed a place that had a gaming center which was open to the public every day, a large-scale competition space, a broadcast studio, and a team training area, so that the teams and the operations can happen on a day-to-day basis. So this video kind of encapsulates the project, and I'll kind of talk about it a little bit as it plays. But this was the largest venue in North America. It's about 75,000 square feet. It's an adaptive reuse project. We took over a convention center, actually, built out about $12 million worth of new infrastructure in this project. So everything from a great retail merch environment to a gaming center, which is open every day. A lot of sort of interesting concepts, new concepts around land gaming and sort of gameplay to the public, to really dynamic space in the building, which is very flexible and adaptable for every type of game, whether it's Overwatch, Counter-Strike, League of Legends. It's all modularly based. It allows them to program the venue year-round. The broadcast, production component was a really essential part. We spent probably about close to $4.5 million just on the technology. There's about 3 miles of cable in this building. And it's all about, obviously, producing the event, covering the event, but then also producing the day-to-day content, the streaming capabilities, all those sort of things are absolutely essential to the success of esports. Okay, so looking ahead, I'm going to share out what we're doing with the Philadelphia Fusion. So on the heels of that project, Comcast reached out to me, and we've been really studying this project for the better part of 5 years. We've been invested really heavily in at a research and development level. Where is esports going? We've been thinking about it. We've been in many ways designing the concept car for 5 years. And so Comcast reached out, said, hey, we want to design a $50 million project. We want it to be the home of the Philadelphia Fusion, but we also want it to be sort of ground zero for our esports ecosystem that's going to grow from here. And so what I'm going to share with you is kind of where we are in the design process. This building will be open at the tail end of 2020. We'll break ground this summer. So it's moving at a very rapid pace. I think what's interesting about this building, though, is that if you had asked me 5 years ago if we'd be designing a $50 million ground-up building in 2020, I would have said there's absolutely no way. And it just goes to show you how quickly the market is maturing and where we're headed over the course of the next 10 years is going to be, in my opinion, quite phenomenal to watch. So it's the first purpose-built professional esports arena in the world. It's going to be really a cornerstone for gaming, but it's really the place that they're going to build their culture and build a lifestyle. And so it's not just about a physical venue. It's about training. It's about merch. It's about apparel, fashion. It's about, again, building a culture in a way that's really distinctly about Philadelphia. And I think our primary objectives at the end of the day, it's real simple. It's have the best fan experience in the world and have the best training environment absolutely in the world. So take a step back. Ultimately, this has to be a venue about its place. And this is a venue that's 100% about Philadelphia, first and foremost. And so when we talk about architecture, it's always about an authentic response to what the place is. In Philadelphia, it's about kind of the Industrial Revolution and where that was born. It's in many respects about workshops and machines. It's about this sort of workshop of the world. And we really wanted to honor that in the design of the building. But ultimately, it's about this fusion of the industrial past and the industrial future, and celebrating the machine and celebrating this aspect of technology and looking at this in every single aspect of the design architecture to the branding approach. Every single component of this is about the celebration of this machine, the celebration through fashion and culture, ultimately the design language that we're weaving throughout, things that are about this aggressive language of stealth and faceting and sort of elements of the game that we really want to respond to in the architecture. And so it's this merging of pieces. So looking at the architectural plan, I'll just kind of point out a few things, and then I'll show you another quick video kind of where we're at. But this is about a 50,000 square foot venue. And ultimately, there's this really awesome entertainment plaza. This is going to be the centerpiece for a broad scale entertainment development. And so there will be an entertainment plaza that can be activated experientially. There's the main entry lobby, which will also be a place that will be activated not only for Overwatch events, for concerts, corporate events, all sorts of things. This is their home for the elite training as well. So it's a big component of this project. And then we have a production studio. And then, of course, we have the seating bowl. And this is a 3,500 seat seating bowl. And it's very intimate in many respects, but we think that it's the perfect and right size for this type of venue moving forward. The reality is, you can do a large-scale event, whether it's at the O2, whether it's at Madison Square Garden, in this case in Philadelphia, the Wells Fargo Arena, that's 17, 20,000 seats. What we really see in the industry right now, what the industry is telling us, based on conversations with Blizzard, frankly, based on conversations with Live Nation, other sort of concert and venue operators, the 3,500 seats is a really good place to start and a place to grow, but also the place that's perfect for an Overwatch competition, for a League of Legends quarterfinal, event, any type of other sort of esport premier international touring event would want to come to a venue like this. And it's a plug-and-play model, and it's got the right sort of mix of premium, it's got the right mix of seating, and it has really, really optimized sight lines to the screen, which is absolutely important. So this is showing a little bit of the interior of the project. So I'm going to show just kind of a quick video. When we unveiled this project 2 weeks ago, it had a lot of international buzz, frankly. We had about 8 million Twitter impressions when it was unveiled. So the world is really watching, and it's very exciting. But this kind of shows a little bit of kind of the genesis of the project. So starting outside the venue, as I mentioned, there's going to be a really active and dynamic plaza that really sets up the experience. So this is part of, as I mentioned, part of a broad-scale development strategy. So I'm going to show something to kind of close this talk that kind of gets into this in more detail. But we really believe that esports, frankly, can be the anchor to a broad-scale entertainment strategy. And here in the United States, we're working with a developer called Cordish Development. They're actually a joint venture partner on this project. But this is a very dynamic, mixed-use entertainment development that includes restaurants, office space, a hotel. Wells Fargo Arena, where the Philadelphia Flyers and Sixers play, is just a few hundred yards from here. And so this is really going to be the anchor in many respects for this development. On the other side of this is a big sports bar that's been built out day one. But this is the type of environment that's going to be very active. Brands are going to activate experientially and really becomes the first impression into the project. So moving inside the building, this is showing again the auditorium space, and it'll be used again for esports, for concerts, all sorts of things. The stage is modular. It can host any type of esports environment, whether it's a 6v6 competition, 5v5, and so on. Everything is experience-based, and so everything will be experiential around entering into the building. It will be dynamic, full of light, LED, media. It can be branded for every type of event. There's going to be a unique product mix in terms of the sort of premium product. This is kind of like a bottle service box, and it'll be totally customized content. So when you're sitting in the box, you can just basically have all of your curated experience based on if you want to follow a specific player, if you want to have basically in-depth statistics, you can pull it up right on a console all the way down to in-seat service. So you'll be able to order and have it delivered right to your seat. And then the Elite Training Center. So this will be their ground zero for training every day. And they'll spend up to 18 hours or so in an environment like this, and everything from food, nutrition, sleep, the training itself, a war room type space. All the principles that we would design into an NBA elite training facility is right here. So these truly are athletes, and so it's important they train like athletes. Okay, and then the last piece of this I'm gonna touch on is where we see the future going, and it is tremendously exciting. As I mentioned, we have matured at a level, frankly, that kind of has exceeded where I thought we would be at this stage. But there was a question asked earlier around where do we think we're going in 20 years? Well, this is kind of where I think we're going. So I'm going to go ahead and share this, and then I'll talk over it a bit as well. So this kind of touches on where we believe that the broad-scale development is going to be headed. And looking at city centers, looking at places where esports can sort of anchor broad-scale development, where we can look at retail, food and beverage, hotels, training centers, developer labs, a whole critical mass for esports, dynamic media, places where we can have globalized events play out, outdoor experiences, plazas, places like you see in the World Cup when 10,000 people come together in a plaza to watch an event. We certainly see that in esports. And it's very much about an immersion of media. And so it may be Fortnite one day, it may be League of Legends, but it's always changing. AR, we think, is absolutely essential. So AR, mixed reality, the way in which we can map content and surfaces, the way in which we can have optics that come into the play is absolutely essential. Somebody was talking about haptics earlier. The way that we can connect a one-to-one experience between spectator and competitor is through this. So what happens when you can feel the heartbeat of a competitor at that critical kill in an event, the rumble effects, the sensory sort of haptic experiences are absolutely essential. And then it's transformable. I mean, we see these venues is ultimately like a transformer. Mechanized pieces where there be ceilings, seating sections, a whole mechanization ability that allows us to completely shape-shift the venue to go from full house to half house to small capacities. It's always changing based on whatever type of event we need to be hosted. And then ultimately, when we're looking at dense urban conditions, places like Berlin, frankly, and London, how do we go into an environment and stack programs together and basically create this critical mass around architecture and esports that ultimately inserts into a dense urban fabric? And the globalization of live events. The cool thing about esports is that you can have an event anywhere around the world simultaneously. Somebody in Atlanta can be playing a game with somebody in Sydney or London or so forth. And then the elite training facility, which I touched on earlier, I think that this is just going to become more and more critical moving forward as we train these next generation athletes and ultimately build the super competitor. Thank you very much.